Hello, everyone, and welcome to this segment of Shapeshifters. So, shapeshifting is also known as transformation and transmogrification, and is a change in the form of a shape of a person, especially a change from human form to animal form, but not always. I mean, we're talking a lot of people just think old school these days, but we'll talk about that. Or a change in appearance from one person to another. So that's always interesting. We'll talk about that too. So is this true or is it fantasy? Anything is possible when you're open-minded and willing to consider things that most don't consider as the norm, whatever that is. We can tell you we're not of the norm. But anyway, we can tell you that you're probably already witnessing this or maybe experiencing it and probably have no idea you are. So we want you to hear about our experiences and explore more about energy and how it works as it pertains to shape-shifting. And as always, we will be offering our random mini light activation healings readings. So make sure you stay through to the end for those of you who are attending live to have your chance at receiving one. So thanks again for being here. So happy you are. Let me get back to my other screen. Let's see. How are you? Oh yeah. Let me.
And I'm tending to the chat room.
I am Cindy Eyler, and
I'm Homer Castillo.
So here we are. So yeah, this is a really fun topic or interesting. I don't know. It could be a little freaky. Take it for what it is. We have a lot of different examples when it comes to shapeshifters and shapeshifting. Nothing's ever limited to one absolute. At least that's what I have found with any topic that anybody could bring up. But we have a lot of experiences where things have happened in all different ways, and we want to talk about those. So if you have questions, please make sure you put those in the chat room. Please remember to give this a like, a share, a comment. And if you want to be considered for one of the free random mini readings, healings, please put I'm all in, and we will scroll up and down later to see who will get some of those awesome little mini sessions. So let's see, where do we start? Most times we'll talk about the norm, and I read that little blurb, and that's from what did they call it? I never saw that before, but it was supernaturalwiki.com.
I've heard of that.
That was a thing. So I'm gonna have to check that out because that was kind of cool. But that is typically how people think of it is when people shapeshift from a human into an animal. So that's your basic, but we have experienced and seen lots of shapeshifting. Energy is always moving. Energies are always shaping and shifting. So why wouldn't this be normal? It pretty much is. I mean, have you ever seen how I know there's a family among my family, and they all look the same. Not just because the father and the mother have kids that look like them. No, even the father and mother look the same. They all look the same. It's so weird when you look at them and they all look the same. And I always say it like to my mom, wow, they all look the same. And it's so true. The thing is that I want you to remember with this subject and beliefs, when we talked about the DNA and the generational family line things in the last segment, cells talk to cells. So when you're within a proximity with people, or you don't even have to be in the same proximity. If you spend a lot of energetic connection and time with people, you start to shift, and you can take on the qualities and the looks of others. And so how many people have you seen that they look like their dog? I mean, that's common. I've seen that a lot of times where the dog and the owner look very similar. And so people look similar. And really what it comes down to is energy will do whatever you tell it to do. So it's really not even people do this to themselves. If they keep telling themselves that they're fat, they're fat, they're fat, maybe they weren't fat. I'm sure a lot of people have this particular thing when they were younger, teenager, 20s. They were saying, I'm fat, I'm fat. And now they look back and go, gosh, I only wish I was that fat. Back then, I used to think I was fat. And now look at me, like I'm super fat. And it's the years of telling yourself you're fat, so your body decides to be fat.
That happened to me too when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was super skinny. And when I was young, I kept saying, I want to be fat. I want to be fat.
You want to be fat?
Yes, because I was really skinny. And then in my 20s, I was large. And then I switched that to, I want to be toned. I want to be toned. Because I was heavier in my 20s than I am now.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And you wanted to be
because I was very skinny when I was growing up.
Oh, wow.
Very skinny.
So, yeah. And then, I know a lot of people that thought they were fat when they were young, but then they look back and they were super skinny. Whatever you tell yourself, I'm going to die, I'm sick, I feel sick, like whatever you focus on the most, you're absolutely shape-shifting yourself into that. Your body listens to you. Your cells listen to you. Other people listen to you. If you tell people all the time, like negative things about yourself, or, if you tend to be a victim and talk about, a lot of bad stuff in your life all the time. So when people think about you, they'll automatically start thinking not good things about you just because they're believing what you're saying. So they, when they think about you, they're thinking what they hear from you all the time. So that's
energy follows thought. So
right. So that even strengthens it. Okay. So it's like affirmations. You say it enough times, it's going to get stronger and stronger in your energy. But let's talk about I just wanted to set that basis first about energy, that there's so many possibilities. It's not, how many of you there's some form of like shamanic dancing you can do where people will take on an animal and then they'll play out that animal. And you feel your body having wings if you're like an eagle, or you feel yourself really big and powerful if you're walking around, stomping around like a bear. And you really embody that feeling, okay? You do that enough and you're going to take that on. So it really, it depends on you and how deep and far you want to go with it. But I have seen, first of all, I've seen people shape-shifting, morphing, actually in the process of morphing. I know somebody who's, I guess she's kind of famous, but I don't want to put her name here because I just don't even want to go down that road. But she was starting to turn into a fairy and her ears were getting pointed like a fairy's ears. So when I was at this event and I saw it, we were all like, whoa, look at her ears are turning into a fairy's ears. Now, knowing, where she's at now, she stopped that morphing process because she totally went another way with her beliefs. And so now that morphing is not happening with her, but she was absolutely going into that realm. How about mermaids? Okay, some people think that those aren't true, but who's to say that isn't true? You see a lot of people that resemble that, and they're really into the water and they really resonate with that. So, just notice the things that are really strongly coming to you. And I want to just throw this out there too. Remember, we're living a multi-dimensional life. So we are having many lifetimes happening at the same time. So absolutely, you could be this form on this lifetime and another form in many other lifetimes, have many other forms, being a mother, a brother, an uncle, an animal, anything. Okay, so you are so multidimensional It's just that you're seeing this right now. And that's why we've talked about when we're in how we can do these, it's all of a sudden we have these magical, our powers are amped up. And because we're a lot freer to express our version of our energetic being, we're not so much, we might look or feel like we're a human body in the physical in our dreams, or we might even see ourselves in it as an animal, but it's like there's not the density in the dream state that there is on the earth plane. So there's so many ways you can go with this. So since we're talking about the morphing thing, we start that one with you, Homer, and you can talk about the morphing thing and also about the dream state thing that you've experienced.
Let's see. I have so many stories, but I could begin with a person that I know who is also like me. She's very galactic. And a few years ago, she was letting me know that she will try to limit her public or going out to the public. And I asked her, why is that? And she said she is slowly transforming. And I said, transforming? So I had to ask her, into what? And she said, because these days you don't know. So, well, I mean, she was wearing sunglasses when I was talking to her. And she lowered her sunglasses and she showed me the pupils of her eyes. And instead of round, it was triangular. And she said, I want you to feel my forehead. And I did. And it was bumpy. And I could feel the bumps were getting bigger as I went to the crown of her head. Almost kind of like a Klingon, if you guys know what that is from Star Trek, like a bumpy ridge in the middle. And her ears were getting lower. And I said, okay, that's interesting. And she said she's transforming and she will get back to me at a later date. And this was at an event that we were at. I don't know what happened to her.
I know. And, you know, I met her at, wasn't it at the New Living Expo?
Yeah, New Living Expo.
Is that when she actually told you that?
Well, she went a few years, but it was the last year.
I think that's the last time you saw her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met her at that time, and I always ask you about her, and you're like, I don't know what happened to her.
Yeah.
So,
and also there was because I used to belong to a UFO meetup group. So in the beginning, let's see, the first year of our group, there was a member that he was slowly transforming as well. So he showed us a picture. He showed the group a picture of how he looked a year before and how he looked now, which was 10 years ago. But his face started to get thin, almost like a praying mantis, sort of, and his eyes were bulging out. And he was able to move his joints like really like that, like a praying mantis. And his neck, compared to his driver's license picture from a year ago, was getting really skinny. And then he disappeared. He never came back to the group.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know at what point they hatch from their cocoon.
But physically, you could really see it in
Right.
both situations. You could really see it. It's very galactic. In my case, it's kind of normal, but seeing people transform like that. But yeah, visually, you could really see it.
Yeah. And especially if you're like, you know, you talk about it being galactic, something like that is, I would think is probably way easier. Not that might be a belief, but you're going to get a lot of help with that compared to saying, I want to turn into a bear right now or whatever. So let's just sidestep for a minute, because I want to go back to your story about your dream state thing. How about like somebody that turns into a werewolf? What do you think that is within that person I'm looking at that picture in our announcement of you, Homer. What do you think is in that person to make them be able to shift into that? I won't say that easy because it always looks painful, but that's the movies. But I'm sure if your body had to contort into something completely different,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be all that comfortable. I guess you can get used to it. You would really have to be in the state of not stuck in your human physicality. You really need to be able to lose that. But back to the question. What do you think, Homer, that it would be that somebody would what's in them that would make them be able to shift into, for example, a werewolf?
Bear. Yes. So I actually know a few star people, but they can look human in the world that they are existing in. Because I do know personally a werebear, not a werewolf, but a werebear. So someone who can look human or humanoid and transform into a bear. And he's actually one of my friends out there in space. Tosaz is his name. And he's a werebear. And he's able to do that because he's not restricted to the human or Earth rules, I guess, or Earth confinements, or I don't know what to call it.
The physicality.
The physicality, yeah. It's because in other worlds, people are able to transform. And I do know other races that can transform according to what world they're in and also what assignment they're in.
Right. So going back to this werewolf thing, this is a person here on Earth that turns into a werewolf. What do you think? How do you think that that's actually happening? I mean, there could be many different reasons. And one thing is perhaps that energy of the werewolf comes in and consumes that body or takes over that body.
Well, also, everything is energy. And those that are skilled in working with energy know how to manipulate or kind of like as if I was working with clay, able to use that energy according to what is needed. And my grandmother used to do that, actually.
Right.
She used to shapeshift in a way to protect her. And there's a whole story with that too.
Right. So we'll go to that in a minute. So going back to this werewolf thing, where it could be that some energy of the werewolf has an agreement with that person in the body or not. It may not be that the person in the body even realizes they have an agreement, but there's the soul contract that we talked about the other day, comes in and utilizes the body and then leaves. That person may or may not know what even happened. Okay. So energy can do a lot of things, and your abilities all depend on where you are in your ability, either accepting of it, or some of these things I do believe are not conscious, but on a soul level, that there was some contract there to make that happen. So you don't know how, it's a person by person basis kind of thing. But you hear about these people that have no idea that they did something, and they're like, it was you. And you're like, I don't have any recollection of that. You don't know what's actually happening. People will assume, oh, he must have been on medication, or he was on drugs, or she was drunk, or whatever, right? They're going to assume those normal kind of things and not assume that something could come in and start doing the work. We talked about, what was it? Which segment was that when we talked about the was it the supernatural, when we were talking about when we were at Casadega and that spirit was talking through that woman? She's all like, she agreed to allow this thing to move through her and talk to her. Of course, it could start walking with her, walking through her. It could change everything about her. How about even you yourself? If you're in a really intense mood, where in intense anger or intense something, that you start acting different from what you have. And if you kept in that vibration, what you would turn into, for sure, your face would change, your demeanor would change, things would change. How about when you hear about these about kids that grow up in the jungle or something, and they're very, they've grown up with the animals and they're operating like animals, doing all those things. So energy is, that really is a no-brainer. But let's get back to some of these shape-shifting stories. I just want to keep relating it back to energies can come in and do certain things. Like, I don't want you to think it's like only one way that these certain things can happen. Energy can do anything.
I actually do that when
Homer, go ahead and talk about your grandmother.
Okay. Okay, I'll talk about my grandmother, but also I just have to say when I do healings, I'm actually using energy to shapeshift. So people would tell me I look very different when I'm doing my work. Actually, because I'm utilizing the galactic energy and it's coming through me, and it's actually my business name is Star Emissary. So I am being an emissary for my people, and I am presenting like a someone who is tapped in and full of grace, because my people are very graceful, so and elegant. So that, I assume, is what's coming through, and other people would let me know like I look very different when I'm doing my work.
Yeah, completely serious, almost robotic.
Yeah,
So
because we're very
definitely not the normal Homer.
Yeah. So with my grandmother, she's even known even to this day in our village. Well, it's not really a village, it's called a barrio, but I'll use the word village because that's what people kind of know what it is. My grandmother, there was one point where she was surrounded by hoodlums or thugs, and she was able to use shape-shifting abilities to appear that she was not a person to be messed with. So she was using that energy, and those people that were surrounding her were very scared of what they saw. So she was able to do that. And
Right.
to this day, that story of what my grandmother had done still is there when I go back.
Okay. So go ahead about your dream state.
Dream state. So when I'm dreaming, sometimes I am in other worlds, and when I'm in other worlds, I'm also living the lifetimes that I'm, existing in that world. So I mean, I could go on with so many lifetimes, but there's one lifetime where I am like a hyena. I don't look like the Earth hyena, but I'm a bit different. I'm blue, and my skin is leathery and bigger than the Earth hyena. But when I'm in that world, um, it's kind of like I am shape shifting into that lifetime, if that makes sense. Like feeling the energy. I'm not so much as seeing a reflection of myself because I'm actually living that life. So I am just feeling the energy, smelling what's around me, seeing what's around me, hearing what's around me. And that's just one lifetime. But other lifetimes, I could talk about so many.
Right.
Name one and I'll talk about it.
All right. So you're talking about lifetimes. I'll talk about, I don't know if this was my first or second trip to Sedona. That was a long time ago. And we were doing a past life regression. And we were at one of the vortex sites and we were moving a lot of energy. And I got this vision of a past life where I was a shapeshifter. I would shapeshift between medicine woman and eagle. And, you know, sometimes when I was away from the village, I was eagle and I was visiting other places and looking at things from a higher perspective, gaining wisdom from a higher perspective, a more inclusive perspective. It's almost like when I would go into eagle form, that's when I was just gaining more and more knowledge and awareness of things that I could take and come back into the village as medicine woman and help understand, teach, and guide from this lifetime. Getting chills. And it was so powerful because I just saw this eagle just flying from high up from one of the red rocks and just landing down in the village. And so I know that that was a past life. I would have never thought of something like that. I never really back then was thinking about anything like that, shape shifting or anything like that. So when things come to you, when it's not something that you typically even think about or wonder about, that's something to listen to because it comes to your awareness for a reason. And I've just never forgotten that. The other thing is that things can trigger you into other realities, into other energies. And I was really wanting to share this video with you. I forgot to find it. I'm so not happy with myself for forgetting about that. But when we were in Peru, I don't know, Alma, who you guys might have seen her on, I don't remember which show she was on.
She was psychic surgery.
Oh, okay. Psychic surgery. So she was like, had this necklace piece on and she just, I don't know, she just like stood up. She's like, I am anaconda. And it was freaky actually. She looked like when she lifted up her head and she said it and her face, like you could just see it like coming right through her. And I'm like, whoa. So we were in the city right below Machu Picchu. And when she did that, it was pretty freaky. And there was a lot of things happening during that, at that hotel we were staying at. In fact, there was a lot of things going on in the room and stuff. So, yeah, I'm getting chills. There was a lot of energy moving. And when she just like did that, it was just like, whoa, like that. It was a standstill moment. I'm glad that I got it on video because I actually saw it not too long ago. I was going through my old footage and I was like, oh my gosh, like that is so freaky. So it doesn't even mean like, yeah, she could transform into an actual anaconda. And she was like, she had merged with that energy for sure. Cause whoa, it was pretty intense right there. And then Homer, how about that, the integration that you went through when we were having our Hawaii journey?
Well, when we were in Hawaii, was that 3 years ago? 3 years ago.
Something like that.
Yeah, you guys, you and I, Ozawa, were the ones that noticed it. For me, I was just going through the motions, kind of in automatic. But because you guys know me so well, you know that there was something different about me. So you were the two of you were the ones that brought it to my attention.
We had to kind of do not like an intervention. It was like an intervention.
It was, yeah.
Because we were kind of like, we have to tell him like something's going on with him.
Because you guys weren't sure whether I was a walk-in.
Right. So. Oh, I'm getting chills. So we were doing this really powerful warrior ceremony down in this very, it's a pretty isolated area. Really only locals go down there. It's not like where tourists would know. But we were staying at a house down there. So we went over there for our ceremony. And actually this picture in the announcement, that was at the house after the ceremony. You can see the paint on my face still. And we were doing paint, and we were coming out with our warrior names and our warrior moves. And I
think that picture came out on Facebook memory. It's actually today when it happened.
No way.
It is. If I go and look at it, it's like on this day.
Oh my gosh, how weird. I know it was October.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
So it was so powerful. These ceremonies we do, they're always different, and they're so powerful. And Homer looked like such a warrior too. And well, we were all in our warrior energy and doing different things for the ceremony. Well, I noticed Homer was looking very like he was doing everything, but he was also just very almost like he was looking at us like, what? Like normally we would be doing, saying something or doing something, and he'd be like, yeah, like being all in it, right? And we were all in it, and he was looking at us like, what? Like he was like, not like what, like a dirty look, but it was just like, okay. But he was looking at us like he was like, okay, like not like his normal, like he would totally be getting what we're doing. This time he was just looking at us like, okay. And so he would go through the motion, but he wasn't like all the Homer. And was watching him the whole time, because every step of the ceremony we would do, like we would be affirming and being powerful. And then he'd be like very, like he would say it, but it wasn't full of power. Not that he wasn't powerful, but he just was just not like rising to the occasion of being really expressive like normally he would be. And every time we would do something different, I'm watching him going, what is going on with him? Like he's being so weird. And then, I mean, he was doing everything, but he just had these weird looks on his face, almost like it would be like somebody who just met us and wasn't sure what we were doing. Like,
I mean, I'm weird as it is. It's a different weird, I guess.
It was a weird, like, he didn't know
level weird. Yeah.
Like he was new to what we were, not that he was new to what we were doing, but like really hadn't done that with us before, as if
like it was my first day at the office.
Like he was someone else.
Yeah.
Basically, like he was someone else. Mm-hmm. And even when we would go up to the camera and we were saying our name, because we wanted to film that, like come up and say our name and do our, our warrior pose. He was just very, like he was doing it. He wasn't that thrilled about it. And he just was like, like he didn't really understand why we were doing it all. So he was just not the Homer that I know. And it went on and on. It was so weird. So later we got back to the house, and I don't know, he must have been taking a shower or something. And I said to I go, have you noticed like Homer was really weird today? She goes, yeah. And I go, it was like he didn't know us or something. Like he didn't know really what we were doing. And like he didn't like, it was like his first time being with us in a ceremony or something. Because he just seemed so like he was looking at us like, I don't know, not confused, but kind of like, okay. All right. Oh, okay. Like he wasn't really
feel like my
thrilled
first
with
day. It did feel like my first day.
Yeah. So
in a weird way.
I said, I wonder if he's like a walk-in, because he's not acting. Like, and me and I were both like, yeah, like we need to tell him. We need to say something to him. And so we're like, okay, how are we going to like tell him that he's being strange? Like, you know what? You need your friends to be able to tell you things like that. And I know in the last segment when Ankulu was on here and we were talking about how medication could bring spirits in and stuff, right? Like if his neighbors didn't like see him and notice that he was being very strange, who knows what he would have done until he ended up, because he needed to go to the hospital. He was really off balance with the meds that they gave him for his shoulder. And I think he even got in a car accident that day. But I know he started a lot of crap with me, which was really weird. And so who knows what he would have gotten into. And they told him there's something wrong with you. So you got to be able to, have friends that are going to notice if something is up, because if you're the one in it, you may not realize it. So Homer came
because
down.
I was in automatic, so I didn't know until you guys pointed it out.
Well, yeah, and then when he came downstairs, we said, Homer, we need to talk to you
It
about
was like
something.
an intervention. I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah, he was like, okay, like what? And we're like,
You're like, have a seat. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, it sounds deep.
like we don't know, like if something is going on with you, like you were acting really different today, like looked like you didn't really know who. I mean, like you knew us but didn't, and you were like everything that we were saying to do, you're just kind of like, what? Okay.
But I also look different too.
And he looked different, even in the pictures. Like, I mean, if you saw a picture, some of the pictures, which are awesome pictures, you'd probably think, oh, that's Homer. But if you now look at his face on those pictures, you would see a different energy of Homer.
I should share that picture later today on Facebook, because it is today. Today is the day that we did that.
So we had to tell him, like, we don't know, like, hopefully it's not a walk-in. And all of a sudden, I started getting these messages, obviously, about what was going on with Homer. And we told him, oh, you're going through this whole integration. Like Homer had been through a lot of, I'd call it trauma, with his mother's passing and stuff. He was going through a lot and had been going through a lot. So, it was.
But this was before, though. This was before.
This was before your mom passed?
Yeah.
No. Oh, yeah. Was he really sick? There was something, because you were back then you were pretty stressed out about things.
Yes.
So, that's right, because So I know that you were really stressed out about things back then, and you were caring for your mom. And I know you were really stressed about all of that. So it was just like coming to Hawaii and being in those energies, and then going through the ceremony and really claiming our power. And every day we do a different ceremony for different things. So, we're shifting. And so what we heard was he was integrating into this higher level of himself. And it was really exciting to hear, because it was like lifting him to this higher vibration from which he could be stronger, see clearer. I'm getting chills. Be able to, have more wisdom and understanding about life. And even if it's hard, being able to deal with it. It's almost like he was wanting to have one foot out of the pain, like one foot out the door, and with all the pain, but
I'm getting goosebumps.
Right. Instead, he got an integration. And
what it felt like was, it felt like, like a elder chief in a tribe. That's what it happened to my professor from college. She's also one of my people. It happened to her, and that's what I felt was happening to me. Like an elder was stepping in.
Right.
But the elder was me in another life, in another timeline.
Right.
So I was more like serious.
Very.
And I even brought that into, because a few days after our trip to Hawaii, I ended up joining a Tahitian dance group. And I brought in that elder persona, that energy. And I felt like opposing energies from not the people itself, but just the energies of the Tahitian group from a different time.
So he was riling up the warrior energy.
Yeah, so I could feel it. There were some opposing energies that did not want me to be there. And even backstage, I would see things moving and flying around, like getting my attention.
Right.
Like, who are you? Kind of.
Yeah, so this higher level of himself was coming in. He was becoming more of himself. but on a higher vibrational dimension. So shape-shifting into a higher version of himself. It was an integration of living at a higher vibration. It was really amazing. That was so amazing.
And even physically, I would look different when I would tap into that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you can find that one of those pictures,
I'll share it on Facebook today.
You can't just look for it now?
I could. Okay.
Is it too hard to find it? I mean, I could probably find it on my end. So did you want to tell another story, Homer?
Well, Allison said creepy, but it's not creepy in that way. It
was weird for me and because we kept looking. I didn't know if I was noticing it, but I was looking at Homer like, what in the hell's wrong with him? Like, why is he?
I think both of you noticed too.
Well, she did notice, but when it was happening, I don't know that I didn't know she was noticing. I was totally noticing and wondering what's going on with him.
And that's what's so cool to have intuitive friends who are
right. I mean, it was different from him being in a bad mood because he wasn't mad or tired or being sad. It was none of those things. It was just this really strange way that he was looking at us and stuff. Well,
and also even the way I walked was different.
Okay, I have a picture. I have a picture of you. Let me see how I share my screen.
Creepy about things flying around backstage. Yeah, but that's normal for.
Tell me if you see. Am I sharing my screen?
I don't see anything.
Okay, there.
Oh, that one. There's a better one.
There is?
Mm-hmm.
Look at his face. Like, that is like no look I ever see of Homer. And we were, being in our empowered selves, but Homer was just like,
there is another one.
Basically, like I and me and the other people there were like doing things, but Homer would just be like that. Exactly.
There was that intensity, but yeah, there's another one too. But
of what?
Of the same. It's probably in there.
The one where you're standing by yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, I may not have that right here. Yeah, I just knew I could find that one. I don't think I even have an album for that. I was just uploading. Wait, how do I get out of here now?
Yes, Delia, that's like an older energy. Yeah, it was like a tribal elder coming in.
Come on, let me out of here. Okay. Okay.
And it was also kind of nice too to experience that. Okay, where's Cindy? Well, she's not here, so I'll take over. Let's see. Anyone? Do you guys have any questions? He looks old. Yeah, I felt old. I felt old, but not old in a physical sense, but old as in a wiser.
Yeah, it looked like an old soul.
Yeah.
But
and occasionally I would tap into that occasionally.
That's how he looked the whole time, though. We were all being warrior-like, and he was doing that like, okay, I'm here.
Well, actually, when I'm doing my some of the routines that I'm doing with the Tahitian dance group, sometimes it creeps in there or works its way in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to move.
Oh, what is the scariest shapeshifting you both experienced? There's so many. But
scariest?
Not in a scary way. Well, didn't the person we were with in Mexico shapeshift?
Who?
Starts with a D.
Oh.
I mean, I don't want to say her name.
I would say so. I would say so, though. That was just
I can say her name, right?
It was
Yeah.
just shocking the way that she exploded.
Yeah, I mean, she was channeling Yogananda at the moment, but also before that too, she would look different.
Yeah,
And even some of the sadhus in India would look different too.
definitely. Definitely. Okay, I wanted to talk about the underwater people in Aswan, Egypt. So I might have mentioned, I think I mentioned this in the supernatural thing, but it really fits here. So I lived in Egypt, and we've done lots of Egypt journeys since like 2007, I think was our first one.
Yeah.
And we were going every year for a long time. And then I moved there, and that was a whole thing. But so I spent a lot of time in the villages with the Nubians, who are the indigenous Egyptians. And they have a lot of, well, they have a lot of, what do I say? What are those things called? Like, don't let a cat cross under a ladder.
Oh.
Those, superstitions.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it would be like when you walk in the bathroom, make sure you walk in with your right foot first. When you leave, you have to walk with your left foot. Or if you're going to cut your nails, you have to make sure that you put them in the sand. You don't just throw them out anywhere. There are so many different things that they would, believe. But they told me about the underwater people. And I remember I was by the Nile River one night, and this guy told me, don't get the underwater people mad. Like, just don't do that. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything, but what do you mean? Like, he's like, the underwater people, like, don't play with them, because, you won't be happy, because they will do something. And I was like, okay, so who is this underwater people? So I would only get a little bit at a time. And I believe it's because, they're just not going to go tell people, their known situations. But basically, these people live under the water. That's where they live most of the time. But they do come out of the water and come into the village. Every so often, they'll come walking out of the water, and they'll instantly be dry and in clothes, and just start operating like they are just living right there in the village. And people will feed them, and, they welcome them, they know them. And they'll also bring food. They have they'll bring food to them, to the water. They'll leave food for them at the water. And they also have, I think, some kind of celebration ceremony things for them as well. But they know them, and they see them come in and out. So if you live in the water, right? If you're like a human, you couldn't just live under the water like that. But they can stay under there for months, and then come out and live on land for months. Like, there's no difference between being in the water and being there. Well, if you think about it, if you're really relaxed, there's times when you almost don't even need to breathe. Or you could be underwater for a really long time if you're just super relaxed and you're not thinking about what you need. Or how about people that don't eat? They just live off air. So there's all of these things that are attainable and possible. And I know for sure that there are underwater people, because one time we were on the Nile, and I actually had a group with me. And one of the women in the group took a picture of the water, and oh my gosh, you could see one perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And it was just like, oh my gosh. So it's like, they will show their presence to you if they want you to know. And
things like this happen during our trips.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, out of the normal things happen. It always happens to us.
Exactly.
Even if we're not looking for it, it happens.
Exactly. You know what? This isn't a shapeshifter thing, but it's an energy thing. One time we were on, I think it was the last group that we took, And we went, there's 2 days for a sun festival where in ancient times they built, Ramses built a temple. So at a certain time in October and in February, the sun will go right through the door of the temple and shine all the way to the back and light up the statues that are there. And it's just like this thing that they set up since ancient times. Well, since they actually moved that temple because of the Nile River when they put the dam and stuff, but they still have it now situated so that still happens. So we usually do our trips around the October time to go experience, make sure we can go to that sun festival because it's so powerful to be there at that temple and experience that. So we get down there and you have to travel in the middle of the night to get through the desert for 3 hours to get there. And there's usually a lot of people. So we got there and there was already a lot of people. Don't ask me other than it was just, meant to be. We actually walked right past everybody, right through. There was a long line at the entrance of the temple, long line, many deep. And we walked right up to the front of the temple. And they were like, everybody that all the police officers and stuff, they were like, oh, they'd see us and they'd open up the thing and let us in. Open up the thing and let us in till we got to the temple and they opened up and let us in. And we got right up to the front. Right.
It was like a line in Disneyland and we were jumped to the front and we had the Nubians on our side.
And it was 10 of us, right? And
yeah.
And we got right up to the very front. So it's only that moment that the sun comes in and shines and everybody in the line is going to go through. But by the time you get through, most likely it's not that moment where it hits and it's just illuminates the thing. And so we got right up there. And then all of a sudden, here comes the sun. We're like, bam. We were probably
we were inside the temple. And then all of a sudden, you could see that little pinhole and the sun illuminating the whole inside chamber.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting chills. I mean, those kind of things happen on our trips all the time. All the time.
And that happened a few days ago, 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Right. I was just seeing those pictures on our memories. So yeah, things like that happen a lot on our trips. Always something crazy. How did we even manage that? How did we even, they'd see us and they'd open it. And they were just letting us in, a group of 10 people ahead of all these people that had been standing there for hours waiting to get in. Oh, well. Anyway, so I saw that, and I actually have that picture somewhere, but the underwater person, and it was there is an absolute, I didn't doubt it because I trust my sources, but it was amazing to actually get a picture of that. It was so clear, unmistakable, totally clear, amazing, super amazing. So yeah, that's those are definitely shapeshifters because they're living in the water for months at a time, years at a time, and then coming up and living on land for they usually only would stay up there maybe a week or something and then go back down. They didn't usually want to stay up in there in the village, but they would. So Homer, do you have any other examples?
Well, I do have a star person friend in another, it was this world, but in a different timeline. But she used to tell me she was what you call a selkie. So that's someone of being underwater or an aquatic creature, but able to come on the land as a human. So she was more like a dolphin, I believe. Dolphin into human. It was a normal thing. And
Right.
During that time, the Atlantean times, it was a normal thing. A lot of transformations were going on.
Right. So my ex-husband, who's a Nubian, when I see him this would always happen, but every so often I'll look at him and his eyes turn this bluish, grayish color. It's more blue than gray, but a bluish green, I guess, color. and he looks like an ancient Egyptian. It's so weird because every so often I'll just look at him and he looks at me and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're looking Egyptian. Like, he is Egyptian. But like when I say that, he knows what I mean. He looks like an ancient just staring at me. And it's so bizarre when that happens. I
And
just
I
saw
think that happens to me too sometimes. Like whatever trip we go on, I kind of even my skin tone would change according to where we're at. So like in Egypt, I would turn a certain tone.
Mhm.
And even some of the local people there in Egypt would, well, they would call me, well, in an affectionate way.
Never mind.
But I mean, I mean, in some ways, I could feel myself like transforming into, what I used to look like in Egypt.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or in Hawaii, I would look more Hawaiian. In Sedona, I would look more Native American.
Right.
And Mexico, Mayan. So yeah.
Yep. Usually when we travel, people think we're from wherever we're at.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really trippy when he would show up like that, and it would be kind of random. As all of a sudden I'd look at him and I'd see those eyes, and it'd just be like, oh my gosh, you're being ancient again. It's pretty trippy, and yeah, so that was cool. Let's see. Any other things, Homer? Or should we get on with the random healing readings?
Well, there was one story, but it's kind of off topic. But yeah, we could do the readings. Well, I mean, because in the Philippines, there's a lot of stories about shapeshifters. And when I was there, I wrote a term paper on these shapeshifters all over the country. I went from island to island, north to south, in the middle, and getting information, talking to the local people. And even though they would have a different language, because there's many different languages spoken out there would be the common story about the shapeshifters. And in some ways, I even shapeshifted in class. Well, because I pointed to like a little dirt hill in a garden, and the housekeeper slapped my hand, and she said like a obscene word towards me. She said, "Pagtangan mo," which means it's like the F word, but she said, "No, you're not supposed to do that. You pointed to their house." And I said, "What house?" She said, "The house of the duende." So that's like the little people. And I was like, "Sorry." And then the next day in class, my lip like got all swollen. And it was like I put Botox in it or something. It
Ooh.
was like swollen. And the thing is, I had to present something in class. I had a presentation, and I would say, "Sorry if my lips are all swollen. I just pointed to a duende's house, and this is the result of it."
Why
And the
did
thing is, well, the thing is, in the U.S., people would be like, "What?" But over there in the Philippines, they were like, "Oh, okay." It was like a normal thing.
what did she tell you why you shouldn't be pointing?
Well, the thing is, and this is kind of off topic, but because in, well, the nature people, fairies, gnomes, the little people, there's a level of respect. And I didn't know it at the time, but pointing, it's like if you point the finger at someone, that's rude. So it was a rude thing. But
Right.
I didn't know I was pointing to their house.
Right.
And she slapped my hand so fast. It was like, she said, "Don't do that." So I had
Yeah,
no.
I don't know why. Somebody told me in India the first time I went, don't point at like any of the deities. Like if there is a statue or something of Ganesh or something, like you're not supposed to point at any of those things. So yeah,
Well, in the Philippines, we point with our lips. So just to be sure, we don't point with our fingers. Well, it is kind of rude anyway, whatever culture it is.
it
Like,
is true, but it's like
point,
sometimes
it looks rude.
you just want to say, "Hey, look at that
Yeah.
over there." Like you're not like But
Yeah, because when they said, "Look, there's a gnome house," I'm like, "Where? That one?" And it was like, it was a natural thing. That one, and yeah,
yeah.
Sam Maxey, he knows I cussed. He understood what I said.
Yeah, he doesn't normally cuss, right, Sam? I'm the one with the foul mouth around here.
I do have my moments.
He does. Every so often, he says something. It's like, whoa,
But it doesn't sound right.
It's business when he says something
It doesn't
like
sound
that,
right.
because he doesn't do that.
Yeah, I normally don't cuss, but even if I do, it doesn't sound right. It sounds fake.
Kind of like how when he tried to smoke anything, that's fake too, because he can't inhale. So anyway, okay. So if you guys want to be considered for one of the free mini light activation healing readings, make sure you put in the chat, I'm all in. And at this time, I'd like to remind you to please like, share, comment. All those things really help us to get these videos out further, and we really appreciate that.
Sam said, "Cindy, I've never heard him cuss ever."
Oh, he was on a roll for a while. When was that, Homer? And I was like, why do you keep swearing now? I forgot what it was, but you were starting
What's
to
weird is sometimes if the energy around me, I would pick it up and I would end
I think it was when we were traveling with the brothers, maybe.
Well, I know when I went to this event called Contact in the Desert, the two friends I went with, they always cussed. So I ended up cussing because I was in that energy.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you were only doing it that around that one time, and I don't remember what it was, but I was like, dang, Homer, you're really going for it.
But that's not really like me anyway, but I have my moments.
Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, I sound like a sailor a lot of times.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, people think spiritual people have to be a certain way, but the thing is, we are who we are, and you're saying exactly who we are.
Oh my gosh, I just got a message from the Egyptian. How weird is that? Wow. He could tell a lot of stories. We should have him on sometime. He could tell a lot of crazy stories of things that happen on the Nile River. Anyway, okay, so our focus today, we always have a focus when we're doing the little mini light activation healing readings. If you say I'm all in, you get a chance to be selected. If you don't say I'm all in, you will have zero chance of getting in, because we don't read anyone that doesn't want to be read. Mm-hmm. So Homer, what was it again? Because you wrote it down. Even though you didn't understand it, I know you wrote it down.
What a shift in their life right now could mean for them.
Yeah. So we're going to ask, what a shift in your life right now could mean for your life right now. And perhaps even, we'll know what the shift should be. So basically,
we're trying to do with the shape-shifting theme going on.
Right. So remember, if you want to have a free mini light activation healing reading, to say I'm all in the chat, and we will go through the list to see who said it. And while we're waiting, Vidoxy said, thanks again for your readings you did for me last time. It's given me a lot to think about. Very grateful. Oh, you're awesome. Welcome. That's so awesome. And Kat.
Hey, Kat.
She was on one of our segments. Hi, guys. I've been listening for the last 10 minutes. Very awesome show. Thank you.
I think Kat shapeshifts in a way.
She seems like it. Yeah. Let's see. So I'm just looking through any of these comments real quick. I think you get it all. Okay. So Homer, do you want to go through the list and pick somebody that says I'm all in?
Yeah, and I'm scrolling above. So, I'm going to go back and forth from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, so if you put that in the chat in the beginning, don't be afraid to put it in again. You can write it more than once. Just don't be obnoxious. because, we will scroll all the way up and all the way down, but, it's up to you. And again, we are going to be letting you know what a shift in your life right now can help you with. What it would mean to you, meaning how it will help you. And Homer's really concentrating.
Well, let's see. Allison from New York.
Okay.
We haven't seen you in a while. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Allison, New York. So we will start. We just tell you to relax, take a deep breath, relax. And if you wear glasses, take them off because there's a reason. And we are going to start sending in the frequencies for healing and to see what is coming through, what a shift for you right now would mean for you, how it would help you, and if there's any information on the shift in particular. So as I'm looking, they're showing me a vision of you and you're walking, but you're kind of not knowing which way you're walking, because I see you walking, but then you kind of walk off one way and then you kind of look over and walk the other way. And so you don't have a defined path. And what I'm hearing is defining your path is going to give you a lot of power and a lot of acceleration. And hopefully motivation. I believe motivation too. Momentum. You will have a lot of acceleration and momentum if you define your path of where you want to be. Don't worry about getting caught up in the little steps like, what exactly do I need to do? Like, can I do that? What steps do I need to do now? No, they're saying no. They're saying, look way down your path, and where it brightens up, what does that feel like? And how do you want to land there? Like, how do you want to feel? How do you want your energy to be expanded? What is the emotions and the mindsets that go along with that? Instead of thinking of the actual thing, you might have a thing and that's okay, but they really want, even if you have a thing or don't have a thing, focus on how you want your energy to be able to expand, what that expansion feels like, what it means for you, and how you would be living your best life in that expansion. So what they're showing me you again is moving, like walking this way and kind of walking that way, kind of sauntering around, not really having your target. And they said part of it is, if you have a target like that, then you have to work towards it. And part of you doesn't always want to do that. So if you don't, this is a common thing for some people, and it's not all the same for everyone. But some people don't like to make a real decision because they don't want to have to get on their horse and ride it at that time. But what I'm hearing is, if you do this, it'll take you out of living a life of they're saying distraction, and get you into a life of attraction. I love that.
Oh.
Move out of a life of distraction and into a life of attraction.
Oh.
How powerful that sounds. Wow. I couldn't have thought that myself. I'm getting chills.
Someone write that down, because that's cool.
Write that down. That's a good one.
Or do a replay.
Ooh, that was a good one. And imagine living a life of attraction. That means you can attract everything. But you want to know, they're saying you want to be defined with it, because you don't want to attract everything. You want to attract what you want. And they really want you to dream bigger. Dream big, and then dream bigger than that, and then dream bigger than that. So I want you to do 3. What you would really love if you could. And if you had that, what would be the next one? Because it forces you to think beyond what you think is the big one. And then once you think of that, okay, say you got that, what would be the third one? That will really get you to push open into even a bigger one. So the good news is, when you go for the third one, the biggest one, the first one will be easy. Yes. I have a whole video on that on my YouTube, on how to manifest like that. So, that's what they're asking you to do. And I think living a life of attraction is a great benefit. Okay,
I
Homer.
like that. Yeah, Allison, I think we worked on you a few weeks ago, but you're definitely from the stars. And so what I got was there's like a newfound awareness that you're going through, awareness and a connection to your galactic self, and knowledge. So allow that awareness to open up doors for you. Because to me, what I was feeling is it was tapping into your third chakra or connecting with your third chakra and second chakra. So, like, once you tap into your galactic self, it's just like brings you that newfound awareness of power, but not in the ego sense, power more like in a magical sense. That and with your creativity, with your second chakra. I was had to open up your palm, your left hand, palm, and your arm, just to allow the receiving for the galactic energies to come. So this is what I was seeing. I was seeing a visual. You can point your palm to the stars and allow the knowledge to come in as they come in. That's what I got. Thank you.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looked like honey, or it felt like
Awesome.
honey, but of light.
Okay. Well, thank you. And thank you for letting us read you, Allison. And I will go in and see who said I'm all in. How about Eric Draven? Eric Draven.
Sam says he has a story.
Sam has a story?
No, Eric has a story. But
Oh,
Sam,
Eric has a story. Oh, well, I'm going to tell Eric a story now.
a new story. Or it could be old.
Exactly.
We'll see. Yeah.
Time to change the chapter. No, I don't know. I don't know what your story is. Okay. But we are going to tune in for you right now, Eric Draven, and see what a shift will do for you, meaning how it will help you. Whew. So when I first go in, I get a lot of, I guess I'm hearing the word resistance in your third chakra, which is right in your abdomen area, which stands for your personal power. And what I'm hearing is something is taking you to a new place of being. And it's a change. I feel like a big change is here for you. And whenever we're going through, I'm getting chills. So when I get chills, that means it's something you really I need to know and you need to know. When you go through big unknowns, watch yourself. Not only you, Eric, but everybody here. These readings could fit if it fits you, take it, okay? Sometimes when we're going through big changes, we start feeling a pressure in your abdomen area. That's common for me, and it's different for everyone. But that is a common thing when you're like, it's almost like you're gearing yourself up for like something's changing, and you might be excited, but you might not because it's kind of unknown. And sometimes I know when I am about to hit a shift, I will feel my body doing that, and I'll start feeling kind of an anxiety feeling. And I know the feeling, which is great because then I can identify, whoa, I must be getting ready to go for a shift because I'm getting these sensations and I recognize these sensations. But what I'm hearing with you, Eric, is that you've been holding yourself back. You're very powerful, but you've held yourself back a lot. Some of it has been just the confidence thing. Not knowing, and sometimes it's been because you haven't felt like you really had the direction or that you could do it. You've thought about it, it's felt good, but it just feels super powerful and like a big change. So something that is something that you're just normally nervous about when you don't know exactly what it is, but you feel something coming. And what I'm hearing for you is allow things to shift, allow things to transform. So don't try to think that you're going to know what's coming in. You might have some idea of what you want, but you may not know how something's coming in, and you may feel like something's coming in, but you're just not sure how it could happen. Your job is not to know how. Your job is to keep centered on how you want to feel, and if there's something specific you want, what it is that you want. But more important is how you want to feel in your everyday life. What are the emotions that would be most important to you, or the experiences that would be most important to you? Like, would it be really important for you to succeed in some particular area? Would it be important for you to rise above difficulties that you've had and have an easier paved road? Because it's all possible for you. It's almost like I'm seeing this hand, and it's coming down and it's lifting you out of the old paradigm, lifting you out of where you were and lifting you to a new place of where you want to be. And what I'm hearing is what will help you with that is your mindset. Think of positive affirmations that are going to support you on what you want. I have this, or I am this, or I'm excited about that, or this is happening. Like, talk about how amazing that you feel something's transforming. I may not know how, but I know it is. I can just feel it in my bones. And when you can just say, like, I know, when you can say, I know, those are such magical, powerful words. Because when you say, I know, there is zero room for doubt. Okay, you cannot doubt an I know. I know. I may not know how, but I know. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my gut. I just know. There is no doubt vibration available for I know. So if you want, anybody wants something, say, I know this is possible. I know this is for me. I know. I may not know how, but I know with every part of my being this is working out. You are setting such a powerful declaration for yourself that just shifts you right up to the energies that you need to be in. I know is no room for doubt. So get into the mindset to support yourself, because I see a lot of shifts and changes coming for you. They're showing me a lot of shifts and changes. Now, the only way that you would back away from it is if you start to repel it. And the way that you repel yourself from getting what you want is not feeling good, not feeling happy, being negative, doubting, worrying, having a fear. Like, all those things will take you further away from what you want. So just have a GPS of your emotions, of how good are you feeling. The better you feel, the closer you are to it. The worse you feel, the further away you are from it. And we're going to have days when we feel positive and less positive, but just know that when you're feeling down or off, just say, you know what, I'm feeling this way, but I'm going to feel better and better. Right now, I'm going to start feeling better. Tomorrow, I'll feel even better. As long as you keep focusing forward and not letting yourself dwell in the bad feelings for too long, you're going to be okay. But if you don't, you're going to play ping pong. You're going to get close and you're going to get sent back. Close, sent back. Close, sent back. That takes a lot of energy to deal with that. So you need to make up your mind. Is it what you want? And if it is, do the work to keep you aligned. Okay, Homer?
You know what would be helpful? The galactic star people, known as the Bastalowalians. They are good at gauging on where your emotions are at. And if your emotions are in a lower vibration, they will know and they will bite you. But that's another story. We could get into that later if you want. But let's see. So I got similar messages that Cindy had. But for Eric, I was guided to your head. So lots of thoughts, lots of thinking. Also behind the eyes, what I was feeling was a heaviness, like tears of frustration. So like, when is it going to happen? When will it work? When will this happen? And so forth. And also on your back, it felt very heavy, like carrying the world on your shoulder, lots of responsibilities. You know, I'm the only one that can do it. No one else, when they do it, they're not doing it right. A lot of things like that, you know, like a lot of the heaviness. However, what kind of similar to what Cindy was saying, shift to higher thoughts. because I was being shown that there's like an old pattern. You tend to go to the other side, to the lower side of old thoughts that do not serve you, old thoughts that just prevent you from seeing the light. So this is what I was seeing or hearing. Concentrate on what you want and concentrate on the light, as opposed to concentrating or putting your thoughts on the heaviness and the dark. You know, allow the same amount of energy you put um, into those lower thoughts, but instead put it towards the higher thoughts, higher vibrations. I also was guided to your throat chakra. So with that frustration, like trying to express yourself, but it's like having difficulty in that where you feel other people just are not getting you or hearing you out. But so I was just guided to clear that up.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell you and everyone, because I don't know why they're telling me to tell everyone this. It's not like there's certain people that are impervious to hearing negative self-doubt and self-talk, because it happens to everyone. The difference is who is the one that is paying attention and doing the work to shift it when you hear it. Just yesterday was a weird day for me. And last night I went to my bedroom earlier than I normally do, because I was just like kind of in a weird space, and I was getting ready for bed. And I heard this weird little thought. It was trying to come in, and it was like putting me down, putting me and my work down. And it was like, wasn't even able to do a full on thought. I heard it coming in and I went, oh, hell no. Like, no, like shaking that off. Like, what the hell was that? Like, I'm not even entertaining that. And like, no way in hell am I entertaining that. Like, that's stupid. And then I just started, doing my thing with how I think positive, what things I need to do, thanking your creator, thanking your higher power, whoever that is. And so that's what I turned to. I laid down on my bed and I just started talking to my highest power and giving a lot of gratitude and thanks for all the help that I do get and the support I get. And that's where I turned my thoughts. But that thought definitely came in, and that's a ridiculous thought. It's a ridiculous thought, because I'm very, very, very good at what I do. I've worked many years at this, and I feel very mastered at what I do. And of course, I'm always learning and growing. We all do. But that is a ridiculous thing. I don't even know where that came from, but it tried to come in and say this. I was like, what in the heck? Like, before it could even finish, I was like, no, shut it down. So when you hear yourself, and it may be you that's telling yourself something negative, or it could be an entity. Watch some of the other shows. Could be an energy that's hanging out with you, trying to keep you down. It could be the adversary trying to keep you down from being in a higher vibration of success, because the lower energy doesn't want us to progress like that. So it will always try to throw a brick in your step. The thing you need to do is always be aware of what's going on in your head, and then catch it if it's something that's absolutely not a no-go for you, a non-negotiable. You say, oh, hell no. I just heard that. There's no way. And then you say something positive to offset that and toss it away. Okay. And then connect with your higher source again and just strengthen that connection. So I'm just saying it happens to me, but I listen to everything that's going on. I know when I
shift out of it. That's
right. I know when I'm thinking, like yesterday, I was really irritated about basically the IRS, about being so out of integrity. And so I was just like, I don't like how this is making me feel. It's not right. It's so unfair, but it's not going to change, at least right now. So I need to fix my energy, because I don't want to be hurt by being upset or low energy or being mad. Like, I don't want that, because that means I don't feel good. That means I'm taking myself away from the good stuff that I want. I want to feel good. So I went for a walk. And all I said the whole time on my walk was, I live in a fair, balanced universe full of integrity, beauty, love. And I just kept repeating it over and over and over. And if I would hear another word, I'd insert it, like bliss. I live a life of bliss and beauty and happiness and forgiveness. And I was just saying that for an hour while I did my walk. And then I just sat by the water after I finished, and I just like closed my eyes and just felt the divine light filling me and just releasing any low energies and filling me back with light. So you just need to stop and do the work when you need to stop and do the work. And it is important that you are always realigning yourself to the good, because then you'll get your good stuff a lot faster. Okay. Homer, do you want to pick someone else?
Yeah, there was a comment too that I thought was funny from Anita. I remember you at the convent. I think we all cursed there. I was laughing. I wanted to.
Did I curse back? Oh yeah, I did swear a lot back then.
At the convent?
I actually, and that, I think that was like in time of my life, that was in high school. I used to swear a lot. And then I made myself stop because it was so bad. I knew that I was like saying shit and fact like all the time. And I was like, I need to stop. And I completely like quit swearing. And then eventually it came back.
But you don't do it that often. Like
thank you for saying that, Homer, but I think you know that's not true.
I know. I just thought I'd shift that into a positive. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's positive. I mean, I usually only say it like if I messed up something on the computer, or I mean, I'm not saying it at people. I'm saying it like, oh, I'm late, or.
But also, you're being true to yourself at that moment.
Right.
There you go.
I mean, I'm not inappropriate. I don't just go around doing it anywhere.
That's true.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So, Homer, did you want to pick the next one that says I'm all in?
Okay, everyone, say you're all in. I'm trying to type it in now if you want. Again, if you've already done it.
And please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment.
I'm just going through this. Let me see. Oh, a new comment. I'm going to go with the new comment. Oh, Wild Maggie.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. So we will do Wild Maggie, and
I think it's Maggie, but I think we did Real Maggie last time too. So okay. Wild's getting getting down on the wild here. Okay, so we are tuning in to what a shift for you right now could mean for you, meaning how it could help you, and any information that might come in about a shift for you. So what I'm seeing first is like a wheel, and I'm seeing that that something's in motion. And also, when I see that wheel, it reminds me of the tarot card, the Wheel of Fortune. So usually with the Wheel of Fortune, that means that a karmic situation is in transition, like it's coming towards an end, and then goodness follows that. Because karmic relationships or situations can be very dicey. So it's always good when those things go through their revolution and end. So what I'm hearing is that you are going through a final revolution of something, and it's ending, and then you're going to be shot off into a new path and direction. But you need to decide what that new path and direction is. Because if you don't, you're going to be left flailing when you have the energy of momentum working with you. So it feels like you're on this wheel, and then when you make it towards the end of it, it's going to shoot you off into a new path direction. So it's going to give you, not only shoot you off, it's like shoot you off with momentum forward. And I'm hearing that this could be a great time for transformation for you. So if there's something that you've been dreaming about, something that you've really been wanting in your life that maybe you haven't had time, or maybe you weren't at that point yet, or I'm feeling like it's something that in the past you're like, someday that would be great, but knowing that you got to do A, B, and C before you can do that. What I'm hearing is it's time for you to start setting that up. Whatever that thing is, whatever that dream is that you've wanted in the past that seemed, later and, out of reach for whatever reason at this time, it's time to put some they're saying blow energy into it and start, like you could do a vision board. You can write, journal about it. Decide what that means. Where are you? What are you doing? How are you feeling? What kind of people are around you? How can you best support yourself? And then, what really, one big thing is what really interests you about it. I'm sure but they're saying to ask yourself, why would you want this to begin with? What really interests you about this? Because that is going to give you the seedling of knowing where you're going to start with pursuing it. That's what they're saying. So you may want to listen to this again and write that stuff down, because you want to set that little seedling up so you can sprout new guidance for you. But they're going to shoot you off. It's like a pinball machine where you hit those flippers and it just shoots the ball off. It's like you're going to be like a cannon. And fast forwarded, and it feels like you're going to be able to land where you've always wanted to land, but never thought you could land there because of this or that or this or that. It's like there's no more this and that in the way. It's time. It's time for you to lift off and go for it. And the universe is putting a lot of power behind you and with you. So you don't need to know how. You just need to know what it is and how you want to feel. You don't need to know how necessarily you're going to be able to do it. Because if you do that, if you start thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? You're just going to stop yourself from doing it, because you're going to make up all kinds of reasons why you can't. And you want to stay away from the can't and move on to the I can and do it. Okay, Homer?
Okay, I got similar things, but I'm going to try to pinpoint the different things that I got, because it sounded this exact same thing Cindy got. But so I was seeing a lot of options for you, but be okay with whatever options you select. It's okay if you take A, B, or C. It's really about feeling good with your decision, and you just go for it. So whatever option that you pick, put in the energy in it. Really feel it. Taste it, smell it. Just feel the energy of it, and it'll keep getting stronger. The more thought you put in it, the longer your thoughts are with it, it'll get stronger and stronger. And if you want, with all your options, you can tune into your body. And if you detect any tension in like option A, well, maybe you want to try option B. Okay, tune into your body if you feel any, or even your chakras if you want. If you feel any tension, then okay, let me go with the least resistant path. That is the path. And there is no right or wrong. It's just, go with what you feel. That's what I got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Just looking through the list ahead of time. So let's get someone else in here. Delia. Is it Delia or Delia? Delia. So I have to remember that it doesn't have an H, so it's not Delia. It's Delia, because it's a D only, not an H. Okay, because I know I've asked that before, and I don't like saying people's names wrong, like Jeannie.
Oh, yeah.
It's embarrassing when you know someone for a long time and you don't know that you're calling them the wrong thing for a long time.
Oh, that happened to me a few times.
Okay.
Oh,
Awesome.
you're welcome, Wild Maggie. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so let's put the cord to that one. Delia, how a shift for you will help you in a big way. Sending in the frequency. So the first thing I'm seeing is something energy on your shoulders, like the back of you. It's like you've got energy of other people putting pressure on the back of you. Not like they're trying to pressure you, but you're carrying is it drama or carrying the energy of other people, like taking on other people's stuff. And that can happen simply by being in the proximity of people that are willing to just throw all their crap on anybody around them. They may not know that that's what they're doing, but energy is everything. And how you do your energy, some people like to unload that stuff. And what I'm hearing is, you're an empath. So it's like people come up to you. It's as if you have a sign that says, I can dump all my problems on you and you'll take it. Because you do take not all of it, but there's definitely some pressure. I see it. It's I don't know if it's a couple, but it's a guy and a girl, it feels like. But as a guy and a woman, I don't know if they're together or not, but it just feels like you're carrying a lot of pressure of a couple people. So what I'm hearing for you is free yourself from that kind of disturbance is the exact words I'm hearing. Move on from that kind of disturbance. Don't let yourself reside in an environment where the energy is low, because it's very difficult on you. Because they're showing me that you are always looking to see like the higher perspective. Like it's like almost like you're seeing the stars, but you have this thing like down on you that is like, wait, you can still connect, but it's just like, let's see, how could I put it? It's almost like, trying to, get out of a pool, but someone's pushing you back down into the water. It's like causing this unnecessary burden and pressure on you that's keeping you away from what truly feels good, that alignment that feels good. I keep seeing the stars. Keep seeing the planets. I keep feeling like that's where you want to hang out. And there's something that just keeps pulling you down from it. So what I'm hearing is be very aware of who's around you and how they make you feel. And if something's not in alignment with you, be okay with letting that go. Be okay with saying, I'm not doing this anymore. Be okay with not feeling like, what is that word? Where you feel, obligated, or that your conditions can't change. Like you can change any condition that you want. When we all have these moments when we're just so done with something, and we are in no better place than we were than the day before when we weren't pushed to that edge. But when we get pushed to that edge, is like, I am just so done with this. And how we find ways to make things change immediately when we get to that point of when I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. You're making a very clear declaration and decision, and then bam, something can open up and change for you. That's where you need to get to with people, situations, obligations, and things that are causing you to stay out of the space that you really want to be in, which I keep seeing is like the cosmos, the stars. I keep seeing a night with stars. Like you want to be in the frequencies, and you don't need these distractions. They're saying environmental distractions, and it just feels like human distractions pulling you out of it. You can stay in it, but it's just a lot harder. Okay. Homer?
Again, I got similar things, but I will try to get different messages for you, Delia. So for me, as I tapped in, it felt like so many hands were in different cookie jars. Have a focus. Focus on just the higher vibration. I felt a lot of lower vibration around you from other people around you. So make sure you really set your boundaries, and don't allow the lower vibrations to take you down, especially as you are doing your best to move up. So don't allow the human or lower vibrations around you to knock you off. Really like focus. That's what I was getting. Focus. Just focus on the life you want, the peace that you want, peace of mind that you want. Lots of anxiety. So I was guided to your lungs to clear out a little bit, but just anxiety and being overwhelmed with whatever's going on around you. So make sure you breathe. Quality breathing. I was asked that before. Quality breathing, because someone asked me that before. What does quality breathing means? Pretty much, it's very easy. It's just breathing in deeper and slower, allowing the oxygen to go in and out. That way, it just fuels your body and your spirit. Yeah, just anxiety going on. Had to clear that out.
Yeah, and the one last thing I'd say that I'm hearing is you don't need to solve everybody's problems. Like you don't have to be the answer to all of that. Like if it's not yours, it's time to focus on you.
Yeah.
And that part could even be with people that you enjoy, that you're helping, or people that you don't enjoy. It could be any of those things. It's time for you to put your focus on you, because if you don't, then you're allowing distractions to get in the way of your attractions. That's my new thing. I love that. I wrote it.
I need to write that down.
I wrote it down.
I haven't written it down.
What did I say? Move out of distraction into a life of attraction. So yeah, you don't have to fix everything for everyone, even if friend or foe. Either way, you got to pick your burden, and I'm sure you have enough stuff to work on your own. I'm not saying you have a burden, but we all have life. All right. I want to remind you guys, because I keep forgetting to tell you in here that we have a Sedona trip scheduled, and I just messed up the link that I put in there. So I'm going to do it again.
There is something I want to mention or to shift.
Okay. So wait, I put the first Sedona link has a slash in it at the end that is not going to take you to the right thing, but I just put another one and it's without the extra slash. That's the information for our Sedona trip. We are only going to take a small group because we want to have the best experience. So I think we already are close to half full, and we really haven't even put it out there much yet, but people are jumping in. And it is, when is it, Homer? April?
Yeah, April 1st to April 4th.
And it's over a weekend. Like you have to be there on a Friday. It starts Saturday and then you leave Tuesday. So
I believe it is.
It's a 3-day journey, and it's going to be off the hook. And so
very galactic.
Excited. And so if you're interested, check that out. And
it's actually April 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th.
Okay. Well,
not April 3rd. I said April 3rd, but 23rd. April 23rd.
You arrive. You have to arrive the day before and then leave the day after. So it's only a 3-day journey, but it's action-packed and full. And we will be having some adventures for sure, because we don't know when we'll go back again.
It's been more than 10 years since we've been there.
Since we went. We used to go like several times a year.
Yeah.
And every time we tried to go back, they said, nope, you're going to go to Bimini instead. It's a higher vibration, a higher
or Egypt or Peru.
Acceleration, or Egypt, Peru. But as far as the shorter ones, we traded in Sedona for Bimini, but we're going to make this one, and we don't know. I mean, it may be, who knows.
We would use Sedona to take us back down after coming back from Egypt.
Right.
Kind of like acclimate us back to Earth.
Right. And Sedona. That's a crazy comment, but it's true.
Yeah.
We don't, we're going to go this time, and it may be years again before we go again. Again, it's a small group. I think it's almost half full. So, check it out. And you were going to say something else, Homer, about...
Oh, yeah. There's two little things. Anita, thank you for your comments. You're making me laugh this evening. Your comments are really hilarious. Allison from New York, the comment about empath burdens, let's switch it to empath blessings, because it doesn't have to be a burden.
Right.
It's a blessing, and that's a higher vibration.
Okay, awesome. All right, and you're welcome, Delia. And we're always happy to help. That's why everybody should come to this show, because you never know what you're going to hear. Okay, so Homer, what's on tap for Friday?
So Friday, the night before Halloween, we have energy vampires, spells, and curses.
Ooh.
We're trying to go for a Halloween theme.
Ooh, that's juicy.
And the following week, we have astral travel, lucid dreaming, and possibly ayahuasca or galactic healing.
Right. We're still trying to get Alma here for the ayahuasca part 2. And so, it'll be a thrilling and chilling show this Friday at 6:00 p.m. Pacific or 9 p.m. Eastern.
Or wherever you are in the world.
Unless you're not if you're someone else, I don't know what time it is. Look it up. I can only handle these 2 time zones at the moment. Okay. And Homer, do you have anything else to add?
No, just thank you for everyone. And
we hope that the Shapeshifter information was informative for you, because there's so many aspects. I don't want you to think it's only one type of phenomenon, that it's only this way, because it's so many different ways. The one thing I wanted to say, listen to this. When spirits or humans become deceased, they often come back. People say, I knew that butterfly was my mother, or that what's that other
praying mantis?
Not the well, it could be. But any, the cardinal or the dragonfly, like those are common ones that people say, I knew it was my mother or my sister flying around. It landed on me. That's a form of shape-shifting. Okay. So if somebody can do that, because we're all energy, the only difference between somebody who's deceased and somebody who's alive is that we've got our physical body on. They don't anymore, but they can shift from energy to physical. They can shift to that butterfly. And if they're really good, they can even shift into a physical form. Sometimes you see that.
A squirrel or a mouse. Like
right. Also, what is the other one? Often when we see deceased people, they might have died when they were, 89, but they'll show up looking 35 because they want to look that young. My baby sister died a couple years ago, still young, in her 40s. And when I've been seeing her recently, she's been showing me her at the age that she looked at when she was a teenager. And it's a really strange look that she's choosing, because it looks like somebody that looks like Little House on the Prairie, like those kind of clothes, but nicer, but that kind of like style. And she looks like a teenager, kind of like, that's before you get the cool looking style. And but she keeps showing me herself like that with this baby. And we have to do that show on Ascension, Homer. Write that on the list.
Ascension. And also, angels and also star people too. They will come in a form that you're comfortable in seeing.
Right.
I mean, if they want to look like the wings and the halo, and if you're comfortable with that, they will appear like that. For me, I see them like how I draw my angels, energy beings. They will come that way. Star people too. There are some races that shapeshift into things that you are comfortable or can resonate with.
Right. So, people would say, oh, what does your, your healing team look like? Or what does your guide look like? And for me, I've always just seen it as energy. I don't need like, oh, it was this goddess with this pearls and this thing and this sash and this thing. Like, I don't need all the embellishment. And I remember being in this class a million years ago, and these people were all like talking about all these things. And I'm thinking, dang, mine's boring, right? And then when it got to me, I was like, I just saw energy. I mean, I knew it was a male energy. I sensed it was Tibetan, but I didn't get like all the bells and whistles, like of what exactly that person, that energy was wearing. I just saw energy. And you know what? That's completely valid, because it is just energy. You don't need to see it in a certain structure. That's only for us. That's for you. Like, if you need to see that, then you will see that. For me, I just see energy. I see energy, and I can tell if it's a good energy, a bad energy. Or I can tell I don't need to see it in exact detail. If I do, then I'll ask, and I will see it. But yeah, energy is energy. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Again, we appreciate you being here, and hope to see you Friday for some foolish. No, it's not really foolish. It's
energy vampires.
Choose subjects. Choose subjects. Energy vampires, curses, and what else?
Curse. Oh, spells.
Spells. I mean, that's some real deals there.
True.
I'm writing it down so I can start.
Especially with the energy vampires. You don't want to have any energy vampire.
Yep.
Because they just suck the life out of you.
They do.
Yep.
They do.
And
all right, everyone. Thank you. Vidoxy says, thanks for the great stream. I'll go back and listen to the beginning since I missed it. It's a really interesting topic. Yeah, thank you. We try to keep it interesting and something new and progressive that, maybe you haven't heard yet. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Homer. And we'll see you guys in a few days. Have a great week. Peace and lots of love.
Peace.